Hi guys, it's Carlo from Top Gear, and unlike me, I think this car doesn't need any introductions. This is the Toyota GR86. And why was it assigned to me? Well, Dinzo felt na it's nice na I have an experience of this because I did own the first gen Toyota 86. Now, when the Toyota 86 came out, it cost about the same as an Altis, about 1.5 million, 1.4, and it was a really good deal. It got a little bit old though, and this one is the next generation of it, and I have some thoughts. First, looking at the way it looks, I feel that this is the closest it's been to its BRZ sibling, no? So before you had the 86, which was very aggressive, very Japan JDM-esque, and then you had the BRZ, which had sort of like a braces sa harap. Now, this one looks a little bit more, a little bit more grown up, but also it lost the braces. But the funny thing is, the BRZ also lost the braces. So this is actually, I'm gonna put a picture of the BRZ up here, the closest it's ever been to its sibling. I like it, actually. Yes, it's not as distinctive as the old 86 versus BRZ Comparo, but I do like the way that the front end tapers down into this grille, and I do like the daytime running lights and the headlamps. In terms of engine, under the hood, this one did grow up a little bit. So it's now a 2.4 liter engine, up from the 2 liter from the first gen 86. The first gen 86, the FA20, they were kind of working out some details. It was a Subaru Boxer engine. It had a Toyota D4S system. That little combination caused some knock issues that led to a recall, but I think they've worked out some of the kinks here. And on the plus side, the old FA20 had some problems with, they call it the dip. Somewhere between 3, 4, 5,000 RPM, there's just a dip in torque. And it's funny because they actually have a graph on the screen of the car that shows the dip. No? So this one actually has more horsepower. It's at 234 horsepower and 215 Newton meters of torque. What didn't change, however, is the transmission. So the transmission is still the same 6-speed automatic or 6-speed manual. Unfortunately, this is the 6-speed automatic, which I say unfortunately because it's a little bit lethargic to shift. There's a little bit of shift delay from when you floor it and when the car decides it's time to shift. Even when using the paddle shifters, it just doesn't feel as engaging to drive. So if you're looking at buying one, I would recommend getting the manual transmission. Now, we're gonna go inside the car and see what else has changed from the first gen. Now, aircon. When you go inside the 86, the GR86, the first thing you'll notice is you've got buttons, thankfully. So you have buttons for the air conditioning. You've got the temperature control here, it's a dial. You've got the fan speed control here, it's another dial. Then you have all these little toggles here. Now, this was available in the old one, and I appreciate that they were able to keep this. Although, if you remember the old ones, they did have this kind of cute octagonal shape to all 3 dials, which was quite fun, and I wish they kind of kept some of that character. Now, looking around, this is clearly from the Subaru parts bin. You have these paddle shifters actually came out of almost any Subaru being sold today. Same with these wiper and headlight stalks. The gauges are quite cool. They do have this boxer layout to them, so you know, that's the shape of a boxer engine. So you have the pistons going out to the side. So it's quite cool. Not the highest resolution, but that's perfectly acceptable. The interesting thing here you have on this generation that I didn't have in mind is this one does come with eyesight. It's an older version of eyesight. It's the eyesight that doesn't have the lane keeping assistance or lane tracing, and it's also the eyesight that doesn't work until a full stop. So when you're using eyesight, yes, it'll slow down if the car's in front of you, but the moment you come to a stop, it'll tell you disabling the system, and now you're creeping forward again. So I wish they kind of updated the eyesight for this, but I understand also why they didn't, try to keep the cost down. And cost is something we'll talk about later because it's one of my sticking points also. I do find it interesting that you control eyesight with a Toyota cruise control lever, so that's always fun. Inside here, you don't really have much changes from the old 86. This one is a center folding center console, which is unique to this one. The old one had a normal one, but the funny thing is that you really didn't have changes because you still have your 3.5mm jack and 2 USB-A ports, which is a bit of a hassle. That means you have to actually find a cable that would work with this car. Other than that, the interior does feel okay. My problem with the interior is that some of the materials are quite cool. Like this one is a little Alcantara on the dashboard. It does prevent some glare up here. I think that's the function of it. The steering wheel is better. You have sub-GR branding here. Before, you didn't have any GR branding. Also here on the start-stop button. The problem I have is when the first Gen 86 came out, it was the price of an Altis. So you could forgive a lot of the cheap plastics that you'd have around. With this car costing as much as the Camry, or actually more than the Camry, you kind of wish they invested a little bit more in some of the plastics in the car. Like, I especially don't like this kind of matte plastic that does scratch up super easily. This car is less than 8,000 kilometers and you can see already it's completely scratched up from bracelets, rings, whatever. In terms of the sound system, this is definitely new. The old one in my car had parang siyang Innova na sound system. It's that one with the dials and the FM 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This new one has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You don't see it now because it doesn't have wireless Android Auto or wireless Apple CarPlay. It's actually wired, which can be a good thing. There's less interference, but also it's a bit of a hassle to use now, so I have to plug in my phone all the time. Yeah, so overall, I like the interior. It does feel purposeful as you're driving it, but the problem with it is that some of the choice of materials I think could use a little bit of updating. It's a little bit scratchy. Now, back seats, there's no point checking it. There's literally no space in the back for anything. Usually, when I had my old car, I drive the back seats down, and that's where we go now, because we're gonna have a trunk space test of this tiny thing, and I'm gonna drop the seat. Oh my God. I forgot this doesn't drop split fold, so it's just like that. Okay, so you have to move the seat forward, drop the rear, and once it's dropped, we'll get it back now to see just how much space this car has. Now again, looking at the design of the car, you now have an integrated ducktail spoiler here. It's a little bit bigger than the old one. The old one was a little bit too thin. When you go in the trunk, thankfully, you still have a full-size spare. The problem is, you have a full-size spare with nothing in it. So I guess you can make it like a receptacle for stuff. Maybe drop some stuff in it. But that's why for the trunk space test, I only brought a small bag, because a small bag is all that will fit. You kind of don't want your bag here, so you probably pop it into the side there. Now, in terms of the seating and the cargo, this is a golf bag with a driver in it. It'll actually fit, no problem, because it goes all the way down the front. It's a flat load floor. It goes all the way forward. So if you're a golfer looking for a two-door sports car and you think the Miata's impossible because you just don't have a trunk, this one can actually do a decent job at a golf sports car. The nice thing about this trunk is it does keep the party trick of the 86 that you can keep all your track tires in the trunk. So you can drive to the track with your track tires in the trunk, and when you get there, swap tires out, drive on track, and then swap tires back to your standard tires on the way home. So overall, for a sports car, it's very good, very decent trunk. Wish that they had at least a cover for this though, because I feel that it's a bit weird to have an open spare, but appreciate the space. So that's the GR86. In terms of what it is to drive, I wish that the 6-speed automatic was tuned up a little bit or was changed entirely. It's kind of an aging 6-speed. But if you're gonna buy one, I would recommend you get the 6-speed manual. But the question is, should you buy one? My problem for this, and I'm gonna read it out because I scarcely can believe it, no? This automatic, 2.856 million peso car. So at 2.856 and 2.736 for the manual, it kind of gets in the price range of, well, it's more expensive than the Camry. It's more expensive than the LBX. So it's more expensive than MX-5. So what do you get when you get an 86? You get one of the best handling rear-wheel drive cars out there. It does still have the low center of gravity because of the engine layout. The flat 4 is fantastic for that. As you can see here, it barely goes above my hip. That's the entire car. No? So it's very low to the ground. It does feel more planted than the MX-5, but for me, honestly, at 2.856, they have to kind of work around and give it a little bit more features to make it a little bit more modern. But overall, still a fun drive. Would I buy one again? I don't know. The price is a bit high for me. At least now, it seems like something we can big test with the MX-5. This is Carlo from Top Gear, and this has been our quick look on the GR86. You can check out the full review on our website. I'll put the link in the comments below.